Mini episode 549 of the FDH Lounge is brought to you by TV Howl, your home on the web for coverage of today's television scene and a look at the history of the medium as covered by big-time TV critic Adam Buckman. Follow them on the web at tvhowl.com.
The FDH Lounge. You'll want to schedule your life around it.
A long time ago, on a gloomy, wet Cleveland spring night, two men stand alone amidst the late-night drizzle. Their voices echo across the vacant station parking lot as they debate the merits of the great American radio show that have been missing for far too long. On that night, an idea was born. That idea became the FDH Lounge. Welcome to the FDH Lounge.
Welcome to FDH Lounge mini episode number 549. This is FDH managing partner Rick Morris here with our preview of Mad Men episode 7.9 titled New Business. Of course, this segment is co-branded as usual with NotJustAnotherTVSite.com, where you can also find my weekly reviews of Mad Men. Here's our top 5 developments from episode 7.8 heading into this week's installment. Number 5, apparent areas of stasis. Because of Mad Men's large ensemble, in a way, their season premieres, or mid-season premieres as the case may be, are as notable for what they omit as what they show. We can probably assume that the following are still true. Betty is still a pain in the side of her children and her husband, although he overlooks that because she's hot. Ginsburg still needs psychiatric care, and Jim Cutler is still a grade A jerk. On Mad Men, some things actually do remain constant. Number 4, sisters hating on one another. The Peggy-Joan relationship has been an interesting one, dating all the way back to the pilot episode. While each has offered a bit of support to the other one along the way, their more memorable moments have involved sniping that underscores the mutual jealousy between them. Their elevator fight after the humiliating McCann-Erickson meeting demonstrates that they're completely unable to get past what separates them and put stock in what unites them. They're both very strong, driven women, but very different. Honest and hardworking Peggy resents Joan's leverage of her assets to become the undisputed queen bee of the office and a wealthy partner to boot. Insecure Joan resents that Peggy has more natural talent for the business than her, and that Peggy is taken seriously in a way that somebody who earned their partnership on their back never will be. They've both come a long way and both feel the vacuum of a meaningful personal relationship in their lives, so it's ludicrous for each to think that the other one has it made. But such is the continued state of affairs between the two, who will probably always embody the Marilyn and Jackie dynamic referred to in the show's early days. Number 3, Ken continues down the road that he's taken. After musing to Don that his firing would push him in the direction that he's meant to travel, instead, the unfairness of the circumstances drives him to become a kamikaze, suffering through an even more stifling corporate life at Dow, just to exploit his position as liaison to Sterling Cooper so that he can have Roger and Pete at his mercy. And since many characters on the show serve as mirrors for Don, instead of serving as a shining example of a man who learned how to find happiness in his life, he now becomes just one more cautionary tale for Don to observe. Number 2, Jim Cutler's been neutralized, but McCann-Erickson is now wielding malign influence at the firm. This should be perhaps the least surprising development of them all. As Don pointed out to Roger in the mid-season finale, the second incarnation of Sterling Cooper was formed to get away from a pending takeover by McCann almost 6 years earlier. And at various times, there's been a sinister presence at the firm, whether it be Pete in Season 1, Duck in Season 2, the Imperial Brits in Season 3, or Lou and Jim most recently. Don is yoked to them until the dying days of the Nixon administration, so if he's got a life-changing development coming at the end of the series, maybe it means walking away from the game once and for all. Number 1, Don's newest existential crisis. Aside from the end of the 5th campaign, Don tends to end seasons on something of an upswing, or at least an apparent upswing. Granted, with the rushed-into proposal to Megan at the end of Season 4, perhaps it was somewhat apparent at the time that he wasn't settling into happiness. But the next season always seems to begin with Don having suffered some kind of downturn in his life in the intervening period. A cynic might point to Matthew Weiner subjecting Don to the rinse-and-repeat routine, but perhaps we can take him at his word that Don simply has complex issues that he has a hard time resolving. Just like at the beginning of Season 4, coming off of the Betty divorce, Don is unable to furnish for himself the boundaries that he so desperately needs, although at least he's not drinking heavily as he was then. At any rate, if the end of the series shows Don making what is supposed to be a big breakthrough once and for all, it may feel legitimate, or it may feel like The Boy Who Cried Wolf. We shall see. There's only 6 episodes left between now and the end, and we'll keep following along. Thank you for having tuned in to FDH Lounge mini-episode number 549.
As we bring the show to a close, we would like to extend our deepest gratitude to NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, all Clear Channel affiliates, TNT, TBS, USA, UPN, Deadspin.com, YouTube.com, YTMND.com, MySpace.com, various blogs, Fox News, CNN, CNBC, MSNBC, IamBoard.com, Billboard.com, Google.com, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN News, ESPN Classic, NBA TV, NFL Network, Sports Time Ohio, Athlon Magazine, Comedy Central, Cartoon Network, The Boomerang Channel, QVC, BET, The Spice Channel, Steno Notebooks, Manwich, Papermate Office Supplies, waitresses, strippers, bartenders, garbage men, janitors, microwave popcorn, the writers of The Office, Scrubs, Entourage, My Name is Earl, Oz, Metalocalypse and the Boondocks, Aquafina, and the Periodic Table of Elements.